10 Reasons Not to Move to New York City. Many people across the country dream of moving to New York City and leaving their mark on the world. They buy into the idealistic lifestyle in the Big Apple, where everyone starts at the bottom and works their way to the top of their chosen industry while thriving with a perfect work-life balance. Unfortunately, living in New York City is not as glamorous as the films and television shows portray it to be. Life in New York City is harsh and exhausting. The high cost of living, constant hustling, and fast-paced lifestyle are unsustainable long-term for most individuals. Many people leave as soon as they get a chance to escape to another city. Here are 10 reasons not to move to New York City. Number 1. High rent and property costs. One of the biggest reasons not to move to New York City is the outrageous cost of rent or property ownership. Many New Yorkers spend the majority of their paychecks on their housing. Even so, most New Yorkers end up in closet-sized apartments that they share with roommates, many of which don't include the most basic amenities, such as a full kitchen or laundry facilities. On the top of the high cost of rent, water and utility costs still need to be added for their most basic needs to be met. Some New Yorkers sacrifice the convenience of inner-city location for more affordable homes in the suburbs. However, the property costs in the suburbs are still much higher than those in other major cities across America. Relocating to the suburbs also results in longer commutes to work and less accessible forms of transportation, such as the subway system. Number 2. High cost of living. In addition to the insanely high rent and housing prices, general expenses are much higher too. A drink that may cost about $7 in Texas may cost as much as $18 in New York. Many New Yorkers live on tight budgets and work several jobs to make ends meet. While companies try to offset the high cost of living by paying higher salaries, the novelty of the flashy New York City lifestyle eventually wears off. The benefits of living in the city is replaced by constantly fighting to make ends meet and working non-stop. Number 3. Fast-paced lifestyle. Living in New York City is a unique experience that does not compare to any other city in America. Almost everyone works several jobs just to get by and to keep up with the glamorized, idealistic lifestyle expected of New York. Hustling is a way of life in New York City. There is no such thing as work-life balance, so for New Yorkers, the lines between socializing and networking are blurry. Work events become social events, and social events include coworkers, which usually leads to talking about work. New York City is also not designed to be a family-friendly city. The fast-paced lifestyle leaves little time to spend at home raising children. Life in the suburbs results in longer hours away from home due to a longer commute to work. If having a balanced lifestyle where work is not your sole focus, then you should not move to New York City. Number 4. Traffic. One of the most iconic features of New York City is the image of bumper-to-bumper traffic, popularized by the media. A city as historic as New York City was not prepared for the modern-day roadway networks required to transport residents. As a result, New York City's roadways remain in a constant state of gridlock. While most residents choose to commute via the subway network, many residents still prefer to drive themselves or pay hefty fees for a ride in a taxi or Uber. Even if residents manage to weave their way through traffic, parking is another challenge altogether, as there are more vehicles on the road than available parking spaces. Number 5. Transit complications. New York City's public transportation infrastructure is one of the most advanced networks on the North American continent. With an overflow of taxis and buses and a comprehensive subway network, more than 50% of the residents of New York City rely on the public transportation system. While it may be a more affordable option compared to owning your own vehicle, it comes as no surprise that with so many people and moving parts, complications arise. The hassle of commuting is one of the largest reasons why you should not move to New York City. The subway systems alone can be unpredictable due to construction, overcrowding, and unreliable schedules. We are halfway through our list. If you are enjoying this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Now, let's jump back into our list. Number 6. The weather. The extreme weather conditions are another reason many people do not move to New York City. The winters in New York City are cold and harsh. Blizzards are annual events and often shut the city down for days at a time. Not only does this affect businesses, but homes without power or heat are deadly for many people. In addition, first responders and emergency services are also at risk. The summers are hot and humid and often exacerbate the unsanitary conditions in the city. Rats and trash overflow onto the streets, and the stench is overwhelming to even the most seasoned New Yorkers. The conditions are ideal for bacteria and diseases to spread. The weather makes living in New York City very unpleasant all year round. Number 7. Attitude. New Yorkers are notorious for their rude and dismissive attitudes. New Yorkers claim that they are not rude, they simply do not have time for small talk because they are too busy hustling. They walk fast and they talk fast. They get straight to the point without all the extra conversational flair. If you are someone who enjoys sharing a smile with a passerby or small talk while waiting in line, you should not move to New York City. You will probably feel incredibly unwelcome. Number 8. Crime. New York City has a reputation of being one of the most dangerous cities in America, largely due to the portrayal of mafia, gangs, and other crimes in television shows and films. However, in 2021, New York City was rated as one of the safest cities in the world. Does that mean that you are safe when you move to New York City? No. Make sure you know the areas you live and work in and plan your routes home. After dark, make sure you stick to well-lit and crowded streets to ensure you avoid dark alleyways. Most New Yorkers also know to avoid Central Park after dark. Remain vigilant on the subways and don't let your guard down. New York City is just like any other city in America. There are good areas and areas that should be avoided if possible. Number 9. Tourists. New York City is one of the most visited tourist destinations in America. Tourists flock to infamous landmarks such as the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, the Empire State Building, the Brooklyn Bridge, and Fifth Avenue, just to name a few. Of course, while they visit New York City, they stroll around the streets, slowing down the flow of the sidewalk, while asking locals for directions or taking pictures of everything, even the most ordinary things. New Yorkers are incredibly busy and focused individuals, so these interferences into their daily bustle are incredibly inconvenient. If you are an individual who does not like this kind of atmosphere, then this is a big reason not to move to New York City. Number 10. Homelessness. There are an estimated 80,000 homeless people living in New York City, one of the highest counts since the Great Depression. This population is usually comprised of individuals who are suffering from mental health issues or drug addictions, which interferes with their ability to maintain a job or live a regular lifestyle. More recently, the pandemic has resulted in thousands of people losing their jobs and means of income. In turn, they have been unable to keep up with the outrageously high cost of living in New York City and found themselves on the streets. In New York City, this means that you are bound to be exposed to people who have nowhere else but the street to go. On especially cold nights, the homeless populations seek shelter wherever possible, such as in the subway systems. Due to the density of this city, it is not uncommon to see people begging for money on the streets. If this is not something you are comfortable with encountering on a daily basis, then you should not move to New York City. While there are many reasons not to move to New York City, these top 10 are very major concerns. It takes a special kind of person to live and thrive in New York City. Most people who dream of making it big in New York City are too sensitive and will not be as successful as they once dreamed. Eventually, the constant state of overworked exhaustion tarnishes the beauty of what the city once offered. Perhaps it is better just to visit instead of moving to New York City. That's it for today's video. For more videos just like this one, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to be notified of every upload.